Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing the new Even Fight seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which at the start of the match, every card in our starting deck gets its base power increased by 14 minus its provision cost. That means low provision cards are much stronger than usual. Today we're playing a deck that you guys wanted me to create, so let's go give it a look. So today you guys wanted us to play Scoia'Tael Precision Strike, which we are doing with almost all the thinning we could possibly get with cards like Saskia Commander. So much thinning, we can get over 100 points of it, because in this event, the relatively low provision and usually low value cards you'd be thinning out with stuff like Saskia Commander is way stronger than usual because it's getting such a big boost to its base power. Stuff like our Brokilon Sentinels from our leader ability, which are a little bit tough to get because we need to get that death blow, and not very many cards are at 2 or in and around their power, so that's a little bit tricky. But beyond that, we have obviously a whole bunch of stuff we can thin from Saskia Commander. Then we can thin with Mahakam Volunteers. We can also thin with Best Boy and Roach. We do have 25 units in our deck, so we can thin with Renfri's gang as well. And so if you get all of those things working, yes, you can in fact get at least 90, if not potentially as much as 100 points worth of thinning, which is insane. So that is the primary way in which we're trying to win round 1, is just get tons and tons of thinning, giving us lots of points and giving us much more consistency for round 2 and round 3 when we are just stuck with our best cards that we draw into at the end of the match. And for the end of the match, if we still have them, if we haven't thinned them out, then we'll start off with some of our movement engines with things like the Dryad Matrons, along with a Dol Blathanna Sentry, and also a couple of Cat Witchers. That way we're getting some what are still high base power cards in this event, and also some engines. Then the key thing for the latter round is to play Syanna, and then use her order ability to get the deploy ability twice on Triss Meteor Shower, which, because everything in this event has such huge base power, means Triss Meteor Shower, either for damage or for boosts, is just absolutely insane. Using her twice is almost a guaranteed win condition if you can pull off Triss plus Syanna. And that's really all there is to it. Thin out as much as you possibly can. There are some nuances there to make sure that you don't brick some of your thinning in round 1, and that's really where the only real challenge is, trying to weaken cards enough that you can get the Precision Strike Deathblow on Brokilon Sentinel here, and try, if you can, to minimize Saskia Commander thinning out some of the cards that you would have thinned already. But other than that, it's about as easy as it comes. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Scoia'Tael here, and we'll go first. Okay, and let's see. We do not have Triss Meteor Shower, however, we do have our Royal Decree here to potentially get her, or our Stratagem, so those are both options. And we have Triss... Oh, yes, that for Saskia Commander. Whereas Triss Meteor Shower, we have her, but we need, or would like, to combine that with a Syanna if possible. So, let's see. We have 1 of 2 of you, that's fine. 1 of 2 of you, that's fine. None of our Brokilon Sentinels. I think we might try to get rid of 1 of you. Okay, there is Saskia Commander. So now we have a Witcher in our deck as well. So, alright then. I think that means we are now good to go with Saskia. Let's go range row, specifically, in case we happen to get out you. So then that helps enable some of our movement engines like you and like you, which we should have another copy of in our deck in both cases. Well, that's unfortunate. It's always a chance, but that does stink. Alright, they're going to use a Cat Witcher, which, I mean, on one hand, it would be kind of tempting for us to break out some of our big engines here as well, or bronze engines, at least, but since we're using Saskia Commander in this round, we might need to rely somewhat on these guys to carry us in the later rounds, along with Triss Meteor Shower plus Syanna as our finisher. So I'm deliberately going to try to hold back a little bit on that. So we don't yet have a human, so I don't really want to use Renfri's gang just yet. And the one thing we do have is a Dryad, which means you could make the case for doing that. Although, tell you what, we actually have a bunch of dwarves in hand, so we are at reasonable risk of getting Mahakam Volunteers summoned out by Saskia Commander. So let's deliberately play a dwarf now. That way, arguably should put that melee row, because this range row is going to get pretty full. But this way, we can make sure that we can both play Mahakam Volunteers and get the summon, and also still have the Mahakam Volunteers that is in our deck to be summoned. Right, yep, they are going bronze engines here. That is exactly what we're going to do in a later round. We do still have the Curse Scroll, which we should probably do get Syanna is the best card that we do not have in hand at the moment. Let's do this. We control dwarf, so that's fine. Let's get wherever you went. There. That's what we want to put back. I mean, I guess Dwarf Berserker we don't really need anymore. I mean, you could make a pretty strong case that we don't want to be playing much more in this round. That I don't like. The game is being very mean to us when it comes to what we get summoned out here. Obviously, we wanted to get this out with our leader ability. This we wanted to combine with our Cat Witcher and Dryad Matron with all of our movement stuff in round 3. Okay, well, so that was making it a little tempting to try to play further in this round with those movement engines, but now that they've locked and moved that Dol Blathanna Sentry, makes it a little easier to justify passing soon, at the very least. Let's see, we do not yet have a human from Saskia. I mean, there are certainly still other things that she could thin out. Still do not yet control machines, so she could thin that. Could thin Oakcritters. Could thin Abandoned Girls, basically what we would be pricking Saskia Commander from, or preventing Saskia Commander from getting. Could also get the other Cat Witcher. So, yeah, I mean, it's not as if we're completely shutting down Saskia Commander by doing this. So I think if we go this route, we will secure the round. And I'd like to do that soon, without having to commit any of this stuff. Sorceress was the other potential option. That really made it look like that was Saskia who summoned out. Best boy there. But, yeah, Sorceress would have been potentially the other option, but since that strongly encourages us to play one more turn, I didn't really want to go that route. Alright, Easnillen doesn't really matter against us unless they're gonna... I mean, they could use Triss Meteor Shower in this round if they really wanted to. I would argue it's probably not. Well, I mean, they could. As for whether that's worth doing or not, that is a tougher question to answer. Alright, they're setting up their leader ability? They don't have a death blow here. So that's pretty odd. But maybe they've done the math and this tiny little bit of extra damage is all they need to pass us here with, I mean, Triss Meteor Shower is the only thing I can think of that would be anywhere near. Or no, it's Igni. Look at that melee row for Igni. That must be it. That's absolutely, I mean, that's clever. That is clever. I assume that'll be enough, yeah. That's well done. Except, they cut that one perhaps closer than they realized. Okay, and Malena is mostly a Northern Realms counter against Reavers. However, she would have worked if we still had the Dol Blathanna Sentry. We do not, so it's pretty unlikely that she will be useful for us here. And now that we've already played Saskia Commander, the individual unique types of units, that's not a huge thing we need to be concerned about, so it's okay if we have the Dwarven Chariot in hand. Oakcritters, though, is generally not one of our better cards, so yeah, we do now have movement engines. They did play one more card than us to win round 1, so they might just use one throwaway here and leave it at that, but we will see if they actually try to, or they will play nothing. Okay, so in which case we're basically just looking for our weakest card here as a throwaway. Dwarven Chariot melee row is a 16. Yeah, range row, I mean, who knows if armor is going to be relevant here or not. I think it might be. Pyrotechnician is also 16. Yeah, I guess either way. It's pretty similar. Alright, so we'll win round 2, but they will have last say going into round 3. Okay, so we do not want this Brokilon Sentinel. But we have all that we have left of our movement engines, besides Malena, but again, she's not actually worth points without the Dol Blathanna Sentry. Let's dump Oakcritters. Abandoned Girl. I mean, we have enough Dryads that, technically speaking, she can actually be worth a little bit of points. But otherwise, we're looking at Ciaran. I mean, we do have a Royal Decree here. So maybe we'll Royal Decree into Ciaran and just lock whatever their biggest engine is, and Malena, again, I don't think it's a huge deal here, so we might just settle for this. Okay, as for what we'd like to do first here, I mean, it's movement engines. Movement engines early, right? So granted, we can't get any points on turn 1 from them. Could set them up proactively. I guess, yeah, just set them up proactively. I was wondering if maybe you can make a case for Dwarven Chariot to give ourselves armor earlier on. Alright, Scout Witcher. That's going to be very similar to what we do. But let's see, do we have let's go double Dryad Matron for the time being. Alright, Dol Blathanna Sentry, really would have liked one of those. They go melee row with it. Ooh, that's devious. That is devious. Now, there are potentially some ways to deal with that. Royal Decree into either Malena or, more significantly, Ciaran would take this out. On the other hand, it is going to be worth a lot of points for them. I still think, given how we only have one source of lock, I think we want to be a little more protective of that source of lock. So I think we just try to get by for the time being. And obviously, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt. But maybe we go Sorceress here, and we look for her to give us a little bit more damage. Otherwise, would have gone Cat Witcher here. Will still likely use Cat Witcher very soon, but want to try to get you low enough that we can take you out with leader ability. That's... doesn't make it any easier, though. And also, the fact that you are now in a separate row means that making a bomb is no longer nearly as effective. I mean, we're certainly high enough power that should also, or hopefully, we'll see Nature's Rebuke, which is probably a better option anyway. But, yeah, I think it's gonna end up being this. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. Well, I jinxed it. Well, I did jinx it. Technically, that's 6 points, whereas this is 4. Drops you to 9 with 1 armor, which is not enough for us to take out with leader ability unless Cat Witchers, plural, start to whittle you down. I mean, it does move you to the other row, which I think it's actually reasonably valuable in and of itself. Yes, it's going to boost them, and they do have 1 movement card, so that is still going to help to a certain extent, but we have more movement cards than they do right now. Dandelion. Milva. Our Cat Witcher. Yeah, I guess we're still going... technically, this one may still be better for us to go for. Because this now is boosting them, which, again, as we just said, we have more movement than they do, so this one is more threatening, more valuable than this one is. Even if this one has the bleed on it. So, I guess we'll go here and split our Cat Witchers. Ooh. Okay, not poison. Not poison. Wasn't sure for a second there. We technically could go Dwarven Chariot and put armor on some of our units to help mitigate the damage from this sentry to a certain extent. I do like that at the moment. That is the only thing in the melee row. So this is definitely hitting you. But, yeah, I guess that is... We want to make sure we have enough time for Abandoned Girl to get the Vitality as well, but I think we still have enough time for that to happen, so that means Dwarven Chariot is the next most valuable. So, yeah, I think we go melee row. A Sorceress. Not entirely sure what they're going to try to do with her. Now, Abandoned Girl will put in the range row here. Cat Witchers are now dealing more damage, which is nice. Let's put armor on, I guess, you. Alright. Bountiful Harvest. Not bad. I swear if they get another Dol Blathanna Sentry. Oh, thank goodness. Gaetan, that is going to be a lot of damage. And I don't like all those sentries suddenly being in the melee row. That's gonna hurt a lot. Alright, so... I mean, we are now... just going for whatever movement card has the lowest power, basically. I mean, we can, with leader ability, take out either of you and get the thinning going, which is nice, but we are now looking at either Syanna or Royal Decree to get our lock. Yeah. I mean, again, it was basically a question of do you lock a Dol Blathanna Sentry early, or do you wait to see if they have something bigger later on? And I really thought they were going to have something later bigger on, but they've been holding back for the time being. Can we afford to play Syanna one turn early? I think we'll try. Also need to do that. Alright. Speaking of Brokilon Sentinels. Alright, they did not get the thinning on theirs. So I mean, they do have a pretty large lead here, but that is one difference between our setup and their setup at the moment. So we could use technically we could double lock Dol Blathanna Sentries. Given how effective those have been, in hindsight, perhaps that would have been better. But, I mean, I mean, we're gonna use... we're gonna use Ciaran. I really thought we were gonna have a better use for Ciaran. And I think we still will, to be brutally honest. I think we still will. I think that it's just that, we aren't gonna get the chance to play that. Or we're not gonna be, quick enough with it. Oh, let's also do this so that you still stay alive. Because they have their... because they have last say, we can't, answer whatever this card is. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to stop. That's what I wanted to stop, because they're looking to do exactly the same thing that we're trying to do. If this Cat Witcher happens to hit Syanna, and we go all leader ability charges here, we could destroy Syanna. Tell you what, there are less cards here in this row. I think, well, yeah, let's at least do Syanna, Triss Meteor Shower first, and we'll do one round in their range row, one round in their melee row, and that way, leader ability, we should be able to take out Syanna. I think that's the way we do this. Technically, we would have more units on our side of the board, but by denying them the combo that we're about to do, I think this is still more valuable. Yeah, because that's now low enough. So we do that. We do that. We do this. And then we do this. Get rid of Syanna. We pricked one of the Brokilon Sentinels, but we do have a lead here. And now we see how the math plays out. Because it is Triss Meteor Shower. They don't have Syanna. Is it good enough? It very well may be. It's gonna be close. But we will hold on for the win. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here. And they'll go first. Okay, so we have Saskia Commander in hand. Obviously, that is really nice. On the other hand, we would like to put both Roach and this Brokilon Sentinel back into our deck if we can. Now, granted, we have a lot of stuff we're trying to thin out from this deck. We actually lucked out a fair bit, I think. I think we do still have everything we want to keep in our deck. Oh. In our deck. Granted, they are going to change that in a way that I did not anticipate they would change. For what it's worth, our deck does have more cards. Slightly more cards than the usual deck would have. We have something like 27, I think. So it does make it a little bit harder for Mill to do its thing. On the other hand, we have so much thinning that if we do proceed as we normally would and thin everything out with stuff like Saskia Commander and what else were we just seeing? Renfri's Gang, the Sentinels from our leader ability, all that stuff, we will run out of cards quickly. So, that puts us in a very tricky spot. Are they actually a mill deck? I mean, they played Kingslayer first. I think we have to assume that they are truly a full-blown mill deck, right? So, that really hurts. That really hurts. Okay, what are we doing instead? what are we doing instead? I mean, you are the best engine that we have here. So I guess that means we're just playing a Cat Witcher directly. Okay, now is this for another Kingslayer? We're just trying to gauge, is this truly a full-blown mill deck? I mean, that doesn't really tell us one way or the other. That's just obnoxious control. But, I mean, I can see how, I mean, it has slightly lower base power than you would normally see from bronze cards in this event, but still, I could kind of see why people would be trying to do mill, because it usually does not score that many points, but hey, you have some cards like Kingslayer that are at least half decent for putting up points. Don't get me wrong, Kingslayer, the card, more than anything else, that should not exist in this game. But besides that, just trying to gauge, you know, what are the chances that they are actually a full-blown mill deck. So, you also have Royal Decree, which is also something that thins ourselves out here. So, yeah. Yikes. Okay. Basically, we are forcing ourselves to play everything suboptimally. And this is a rare, good opportunity for getting a leader ability target, because that is typically pretty tough in this event. But again, yes, that's good for putting up points. No, it is not good for playing against mill, okay? I mean, that's solid thinning on their end, and reasonable point slammage as well, but is this a one-off thing, or are they actually a mill deck? Because these other things are not necessarily indications of mill, they're just generally pretty good. So, I mean, obviously, I would like to play Saskia Commander as early as possible to get the greatest value out of that as we can. Renfri's gang, leader ability here, any and all of those things. Our deck is entirely designed around thinning. So, it's, I think we wait one more turn. Let's wait one more turn before we start committing one way or the other. We are also, of course, playing cards of different varieties. Different main categories, Dwarf, Witcher, Machine, which means when we do, assuming we do, eventually play Saskia Commander, there are fewer options that she can thin out. Okay, now that looks more like mill. So honestly, I just wanted confirmation one way or the other. And yes, that was going to end up happening at some point. They were going to mill out a card that we were planning on thinning, but again, you know, can we actually thin against them? Probably not. So, or at least we should wait a lot before we do. So, I guess we go Pyrotechnician, give that armor, because that also benefits from it. I mean, they still aren't putting up much in the way of points, for what it's worth. Again, that is the downside of mill. Okay, Dandelion into what? Because there's a surprising lack of mill here, even for a mill deck, which is what is making me very uncertain how to react to this, because we are playing suboptimally by our usual standards because of who I think we are going against, what archetype I think our opponent is using, but getting some very mixed signals here, which is making it tough to know for certain. So, or we could drop a Renfri's gang now because it's bricked if we're just looking to bide some time here and figure out what we do want to do. Don't want this to hit you. Anything else is fine. I'd probably jinx it. Or that's also somewhat suboptimal. That also would have been a decent target for our leader ability. Okay, they're going to pass as soon as we have not caught them on the same turn. So, I mean, that's fine. If we win round one, we're okay going a card down to do it. Because that should make it much easier to face off against mill. And we have another Oakcritters in our deck. Do we, or is this our only one right now? This looks like it's our only one right now. They might have, I honestly don't remember if I put a second one in or not, or if they milled it out. Because this is the only treants that Saskia Commander could get, so I'm deliberately trying to not get rid of that, so that Saskia does have some value if we do try to play her later. And we do have another Abandoned Girl. So okay, let's use this. Sure, we'll do that. Granted, we may not have actually needed to have played anything, because Best Boy, there's no way of knowing that it was going to come out. Okay, so now we have Triss Meteor Shower as a finisher. We have Saskia Commander as our key engine. Then Royal Decree, I'm thinking we would use to get Syanna for a double Triss Meteor Shower as a particularly powerful finisher. I think we're still dry passing here. Usually you would not want to do that against Mill, but because we won round 1, and they did not put up much of a fight in round 1, it's a little bit suspicious. Again, it's just odd. Hard to place what exactly they're going for here. Mahakam Volunteers, another card that we'd like to thin, if possible, but again, not sure to what extent we should or should not be doing that. Okay, again, more signs of Mill now. And now I think it might be that the only Dryads we have left are the ones we thin with our leader ability, so that's a little bit risky. Because when Saskia Commander chooses a Dryad, at this point, yeah, it would go straight to Brokilon Sentinel. We've not thinned out Roach, but we can still get Oakcritters, Abandoned Girl, and Cat Witcher. I think those are basically the 3 we're looking for from Saskia Commander. And so that means I think we have to dump Royal Decree. Assuming that they are trying to thin us, we already have all of the key cards that we're looking for here. I think there's too great of a risk that we are not going to have any units left for us to tutor out there. We're kind of hoping Cat Witcher was going to be a Witcher to summon out with Saskia. Yeah, Brokilon Sentinel, I think we're going to end up breaking that. At least one of them for our leader ability, but we'll see. Okay, Daemon Soldier, I mean, that's ideal for leader ability. We just need one more turn, ideally. Yeah, because, I mean, technically you can hit yourself with leader ability. So we could use first 3 charges against ourselves, then use the Brokilon Sentinel we get from it to get the death blow on this Daemon Soldier. Obviously, that's not ideal, because we'd rather not hit ourselves, but it is technically an option. Dwarf Berserker we'd like to play early so that we can get the Mahakam Volunteers out here. I think Saskia is actually not as time-sensitive as it would normally be, because there's a very finite number of cards that we can summon out, and we don't want it to be Mahakam Volunteers, so for that reason, we want to proactively play a dwarf, namely this dwarf, so that Saskia does not thin out Mahakam Volunteers. Does mean we're going to end up damaging that Daemon Soldier, which is another reason why I was not immediately thrilled to play that, because this is a rare opportunity for an easy... Well, this might also be an easy source to set up leader ability. It should be. Okay, so I think we'll do that, and then we may go into Saskia Commander after that. So that means 1... Maybe just get rid of you and then spread out the damage however you like, and just get this onto 2 power for the death blow. Let's hit these guys. Then, do we have a preference for row? We'd like to have some flexibility with Triss Meteor Shower. Being able to either play her range row for boosting ourselves or melee row to damage our opponent. I think... Oh, their leader ability is going to be kind of an issue for Syanna, potentially. But, sure, we'll go melee row here. And we've not actually played a unit yet from our hand. So now we can go Saskia Commander, because it will not be a dwarf. We will get Roach out, this is what I mean. We're going to have very few cards in our deck, and that's why Saskia, honestly, we probably could have waited longer. Was we're going to thin out that Mahakam Volunteer. The only thing she can get is Oakcritters. Okay, so other engines, though. Dol Blathanna Sentry plus Cat Witcher and Malena are the things that we really want to do. They have not played any engines, but when they do, we can use Ciaran. I'm hoping... Yeah, actually, tell you what, I really hope that by playing Dol Blathanna Sentry and Cat Witcher and or Malena, that they will overreact to those things, or Sorceress. Use leader ability charges on that so that on our second to last turn when we play Syanna, they will not have any way to lock her anymore, because if they do, then that's a big loss for us. So let's go here first. Or even... And this is a little more valuable than these two, technically. This is up to 2 points per turn. These are both 1 point per turn when combined with you. So let's... Technically, this is the least valuable. When isolated. Oh, also, we would, like... Would have been nice to have had these all in the same row, I suppose, but... Oh, well. What Malena can actually do very well, though, is she can... Oh, alright. I mean, we want to get rid of all their locks. I guess they had one more coming straight from their hand. But yeah, Malena could have helped to line up cards in one of their rows for the Triss damage, or on our side for the Triss boosting. So now these are both 1 point per turn at this stage, so we'll do this. Either one is fine. I want you to lock it. Okay, good. Good. I want to get rid of that last leader ability charge as well. Geralt. Fine. Okay, now... Cat Witcher and Sorceress are the two that we're hoping that they overreact to with leader ability charge, and if they have another lock from their hand with one of those as well, or other control. So we just want to bait out all their control before we play Syanna, basically. Now, have they played any engines of their own? No, they haven't, right? So, again, no need for Ciaran just yet. So let's do you. Alright, Leo, and they do have more control. And that was the card I was hoping they were going to try to lock, but there's still a chance they may look to do something to the Sorceress, so hoping that that makes them use some of their control. Ooh, that's bad. That's really bad. I mean, the fact that they locked the Sorceress, not the end of the world. The fact that they were able to do it without using that last leader ability charge, that is a huge deal. That could be the difference maker between having a locked and an unlocked Syanna. Granted, we do still have a pretty large lead here, and we still have one more card than they do. So we may be fine, even without having the Syanna plus, or setting up the double Triss Meteor Shower, but would love to pull that off. Now, we do still have our Dwarf, which means we can use Mahakam Volunteers for the thinning. Now, if they have any other, like, I don't know, a Mata, then obviously drawing to Royal Decree is not going to be great for us, but don't really want to draw into Mahakam Volunteers anyway, because we're going to get it either way regardless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could still play you range row. Either row, really, I think. Sure, we'll do it. But now everything else needs to be melee row if we want to have the flexibility to play Triss wherever we want her. Okay, that's going to be decent. But we are still in the lead with one card to spare. So this would be the turn in which we would use Ciaran. They just haven't played a single engine this entire match, because they are all control and tall removal. But, I mean, take your pick. Technically, I suppose we could just use Ciaran to put something that is high base power in this ranged row, in case we are interested in going for the melee row Triss to deal damage to their biggest row. And I think that would mean Alba Armored Cavalry. It has 1 armor, which is a little unfortunate. Lowers the damage on a little bit, but it is still the highest card they have in that melee row, so let's move that. So then now it's a little more enticing to use Syanna into double Triss on their ranged row there. We do have some small cards there, so it is looking more like we're going to want to go range row, boost ourselves, to be honest. So we really want them to use this last leader ability charge on this turn. I don't really know why they would, but that hurts a lot. That probably changes the calculus. Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm glad they did it melee row rather than range row. I didn't check to see, yeah, like, it only would have gotten rid of the 14 here. But the reason why that still works out well for us is because this remains, I believe, the best target for us for Triss. And obviously they still have 1 leader ability charge left, so they're going to lock Syanna. But we'll at least check to see if they're paying attention. That's the most obvious lock they've ever seen. Now, this is probably Triss, or at least that's probably the best option they could have. No, it's Vanimar. Now, that's never going to be enough here. Yes, they can get rid of a 12. It is the best they can do. And that will give them a slight lead, but obviously Triss is, one would assume, going to be worth far more than that. Now, question is, boost ourselves in the range row or damage them in their range row? It may be fairly close here. I think in either case, we should still be in the lead. See anything here that's particularly small? Saskia is relatively small. They have a couple of small cards here. But Triss does not affect herself, so that's kind of 2 lowish units for our side and 2 lowish units for their side. It's close either way. I guess we'll... they have the armor, so yeah, we'll boost ourselves. Actually, we have 1 less card in this row than I thought we did. Alright, we'll go for the damage. We'll go for the damage, and as anticipated, it is enough, so we will take the win. So there's a look at a Scoia'Tael super thinning deck for the Even Fight seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions we should experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.